story of the 215 bodies found behind a Jackson, Mississippi jail. What does Dexter Wade, Jonathan Hawkins, and Mario Moore have in common? There are a few of the men found buried behind Jackson, Mississippi jail. In Pauper Cemetery, behind the heads of the county jail in Raymond, Mississippi, lies secret and buried bodies of family members, friends, and associates that was never notified to their next of kin. Civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump issued a clarion call for justice on behalf of the relatives and friends found in Pauper Cemetery without notification of their relative and close associate. On Wednesday, December 28th, the Hinds County coroner released the list of 672 bodies buried in the Pauper field covering the years 2008 to 2023. NBC News present a list of 215 burials between the years of 2016 to 2023 where no notification was given to the descendant families. The name, age, race, birth, and dates were included for all 672 listed in the coroner records. In many cases, burials were co-signed to Pauper's Field because the families could not pay the cost of burial service. Attorney Crump and Dennis Sweet of Jackson called for a full review of all 672 cases Wednesday. Crump and co-counsel Sweet brought together family members and friends of three of the men whose identities were easily established for a press briefing at Stronger Hope Church in North Jackson on December 20th, 2023. Some family members said they were surprised when they learned that they have to buy back the remains of their loved one in order to give them a proper burial in a better graveyard. An investigative report by NBC News on December 18, 2023 listed a roster of 215 such burials in the Pauper Field since 2016 that was provided by the coroner office under a public record request. It was necessary to use 2016 as the cutoff year due to there being no records of the burial before then. Lending their voice to the call for justice were the relative and close associate of three of the deceased who could have been easily identified but were buried in the crude, unkept graveyard behind the Hinds County Jail without the notification of their families or associate by JPD or the Hinds County Coroner. Although the three families had filed missing person report and sought their assistance, the authorities failed to contact them. One mother said she was in weekly contact with police authorities for over a year and a half before learning of her son's death from the NBC report on the national database of such deaths. We're gonna fight to bring them honor, the dignity, and the respect and justice they deserve, Attorney Benjamin Crump stated. Mary Moore Glenn is the mother of Mario Moore, 40, who was battered body was left on a Jackson Street on February 2nd, wrapped in a gray and blue drape. Mario's death was clearly a homicide, and though he had identity paper, his family was never given notice prior to his burial in the Pauper Field in Raymond. I never thought that he would leave ahead of me, the mother said. He's gone away, my baby, and they threw him in a hole like he wasn't nobody, like he wasn't important. Me and my family deserve better than that. Surprisingly, after learning of Mario's burial in the shabby graveyard, Glenn and her family were compelled to pay $250 to get a death certificate to reclaim the body. We had to buy him back from the state, she said. In order to do anything, to get a death certificate, we had to buy him back from the state. Mario's interred cadaver was classified as state property. His mother is still waiting for the coroner's report. Gretchen Hawkins of Florence reported that her son, Jonathan Hawkins, 39, left her house on May 20, 2022 after one of his routine visits there. He was found dead on May 23, 2022 in a Jackson hotel room. I didn't know if for a year and 7 months, she said, having learned of his death from a chance sighting of the death roster feature on NBC News. It's likely they threw him out like trash just like they did the others. Jonathan Hawkins was identified through a fingerprint file due to his involvement with drugs. He had some run-ins with the law, the reason for his prints being in the police files. They found out who he was and they still did not contact me, his mother stated. Gretchen Hawkins says she can't get the death certificate or anything right now. I have to wait. I don't understand. They should have given me one as soon as they found out, and they should have brought it to my house. They want $250 for a death certificate. A reporter from the New York Times came down and showed me information where they had buried my son, and they had my address on there, so I know they knew how to get a hold of me. I was reporting him to the Rankins County every week, sometimes twice a week, and they still hadn't heard anything. I was reporting him in June. He was already dead, and they didn't tell me that. I felt like Rankin County and Hinds County are not doing their jobs at all. There's no telling what they're doing that we don't know about, Jonathan's mother stated. Betterstein Wade was the catalyst behind the persistent probing of the pauper burial issue. Her son Dexter, 37, run over by an off-duty JPD officer in a traffic accident on I-55 in March 2023, was overlooked in the missing person report she filed with the JPD. He had, however, a state identification card that included both his and his mother's address. It was only after a pathologist found a wallet in Wayne's pants pocket with his name, address, state ID, and phone number that the connection between the buried body and the missing person reported was established. Betterson was familiar with and known to the police department because of the death of her brother George Robinson at the hands of the police in 2019. Wade filed a wrongful death suit against JPD after the three officers pulled her brother out of his vehicle and body slammed him to the ground. Dennis Sweet was her lawyer in the wrongful death and legal action. One of the officers, Anthony Fox, was convicted of manslaughter and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Attorney General Lynn Finch asked that the conviction be reversed. It was not. JPD killed my son, killed my brother, and I'm still looking for answers, but I don't get nothing, Wade said. They gave me a death certificate, but I had to pay for it. I paid $250 before I could even go down there and get registered to get a death certificate. They had to call Vitral Records. I couldn't get nothing until I gave them $250 to buy the rights to get a death certificate and a coroner report. We need justice for our loved ones, she said. We brought them into the world, and now the state is making us pay to get our rights back. It is troubling that we're getting calls now almost every day from families who are missing loved ones, Benjamin Crump said. And they are calling John Crump of NBC News, asking, can you help us identify our loved ones, whether they are in their graves or not. We just know they are missing around Jackson, Mississippi, and we haven't heard anything from anybody. Like Mrs. Betterstein, they keep calling the police department trying to be notified someone, but they get a wall of silence at best, runaround at worst. Jackson City Council issued an official apology to Wade family on November 21st, 2023, the day after Dexter Wade funeral. Mayor Lombomba offered regrets over the burial mishap in his state of the city address on October 29, 2023, and he absolved JP of any culpability in the man's death, although it was an off-duty JPD officer who had fatally hit Wade with his vehicle on I-55. It was officially declared an accident. Sweet called out city and county law enforcement for falling short in their duties to fully investigate crimes, especially homicide, that occur in their jurisdictions. We can do better. They found this young man, Mario Moore, with blunt force trauma to the face and head, Sweet stated. That's what you call murder. Why wasn't there an investigation? Attorney Sweet of Mississippi went on to state, I understand the city has a new notification policy. I don't know what that could be. I was brought up on the first 48 hours. If you find somebody deceased, you've got to go through this investigation, do the crime scene. You go find out where they were doing the last minutes. If they were missing person, you investigate. Everybody will be notified if you investigate. If they are a missing person, then you go and notify the family. Crumb said the entire nation is puzzled by the recent development in Jackson, Mississippi. How anything like this could happen in modern day America, I don't know. It is so puzzling, and it puts so much mistrust in those that you put in charge of things that goes on in society on a day-to-day basis. And it left the citizen of Jackson, Mississippi and the entire nation losing hope that the people them that you elect in office is actually doing their job. There's no way that 215 bodies buried in a graveyard should be unaccounted for and their family don't know that they're there. There's nothing about this case and this story that is acceptable. It is utmost disrespectful and disgrace to the dead and the family members that they left behind. My prayers and condolences goes out to all of the families, relative, and friend that is affected by this tragedy. May your family member forever rest in peace while we continue to push for answers for what really happened to them. Until next time on the Meaningful Talk Crime Doc, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch up with you guys later in the comment section.